Ninja here. There is something that I want you to do with your pennies right now before it's too late. I'm not joking, because what just happened has never happened in the history of the United States when it comes to money. And I'm going in the closest thing to this event happened in 1964. I'm going to tell you a story about my grandfather and how he made insane amounts of money from it. I don't care if you're rich, if you're poor, I don't care where you are financially. Every single person can do this and make insane gains on pennies. This is very important because it's not only a financial shift that's going to happen in your life, but it's also a mindset shift. All right. So we're going to dive into this. I'm going to talk about some penny values and what's happening. And I'm not joking. This has never happened in history of America. And let me start here. The other day I did a video on pennies of why it's important to separate your copper pennies, because Donald Trump just signed a deal to where the penny is going to cease to be produced. All right. That's never happened to the penny ever. It's just not going to be produced. Well, in 1982, the penny used to be comprised of a bunch of silver. It was mainly silver, or sorry, not silver. It was mainly copper. That's because I'm going to get to the silver story of this. It's going to show you, it's going to blow your mind. It was comprised of 95% copper up to 1982. Well, just a week ago, the value of a copper penny was at 0.0288 cents. Okay, so almost 3 cents. 0.288. As of right now, I'm on Coinflation, which is a great website. Just type in Coinflation. You can see the value of all these different coins in America based on their metal values and when they cease to be produced in a specific metal at a specific time point, right? As of now, just 2 weeks later, a copper penny is now worth 0.0295 cents. The price of copper is rising. Now, what I want to tell you is this is how easy it is to become wealthy. I know it sounds crazy. And while I was saving up and filling a small trash can full of copper pennies, I was investing in stocks. I was buying real estate. I was doing all kinds of crazy things. I'll also mention today I just opened the pre-filling discount for the AI stock trader course. If you want to learn how to stop losing in stocks, know when to buy, when to sell, how to do it all, and using the power of AI, and actually learn how to become a prompt engineer for AI, the link's down below to the course. It'll change the game of you buying and selling stocks, no matter if you want to be a trade trader or a long-term holder. All right. So the link's down below there. Now, this deal, and this is what my gift is. I have the ability, and we all have gifts. We all know it, right? Type yours down below. My gift is I can take current information, piece it together, and project what's going to come in the future. All right. And so I am going to tell you something that may blow your mind. There's a day where you're going to be able to sell a copper penny for $1. I know that sounds too good to be true, but this is what you need to understand. All natural resources always go up in value over a long period of time, meaning they do this, but on a long scale of time, they're going higher and higher, higher. The reason why is because there are more people vying for more items from the earth, whether that be water, land, gold, silver, copper, lumber, any of that stuff. And because money is always being created and getting larger, right? You've probably heard the adage, it took us how many hundreds of years in American history to get to this much debt, right? It took us this long, and now we just keep exponentially adding to the debt, which means we keep exponentially printing money, meaning all of that money has to find a source where it's going to go and buy things with. And those natural resources over time are always going to go up. So there is a day where you're going to be able to sell a copper penny for $1. I'm going to show you how to do it, how to prepare for it right now. And I want to thank everybody that's hit the subscribe button to the channel, because we're pissing off the algorithms, because my goal is to get to 1 million subscribers with just me and a cell phone with no team, proving to every single one of you that any of us can do this. All right. Thank you for your support. So I'm going to tell you a little story about my grandfather. My grandfather, his name was Herb. He owned a hardware store. My great-grandfather helped him get started with his own business, because he taught my grandfather the importance of owning a business and becoming your own self-made person, right? So he owned a hardware store. In 1964, The government stopped making coins out of silver, out of 90% silver. So silver dimes, silver quarters, silver half dollars, they ceased to be made out of 90% silver. What was crazy though, is the day after they stopped making them out of silver, a quarter was still worth a quarter. That's it. However, what most people didn't realize, that he didn't have websites like Coinflation. This is a great website. Go check it out. They didn't realize the reason why the government stopped doing that was because the cost of making those coins became so expensive. In 1982, copper pennies ceased to be made. They said, we're going to make them now primarily out of zinc. Yet a penny was still worth a penny until just recently. Now, going back to my grandfather. My grandfather had an amazing idea. And that was, instantaneously, he said he knew, and he told my father, he said, I knew that the silver dime and the silver quarter and the silver half dollar was worth more, even though people didn't realize that. They were still coming into my store, just, buying things at my hardware store with change. And in that change were some new quarters, the new ones that were not made of silver, and then the old ones. And what he started to do is started to set them aside. And my grandfather set a lot of silver aside. Now, personally, I never got to see that because of a tragic, when people die, people get interesting with money, right? Let's just say that, in families. So we never saw that personally, but that's okay. I learned this lesson, and I'm going to take this lesson to my grave, but also I'm not going to take it to my grave. I'm going to give it to every single one of you guys because this is an amazing lesson. So what he started to do is he started to store silver aside. He knew that it had more intrinsic value than what most of society, 99% of society, thought. At the same time, the government was taking that change in banks and hoarding that themselves, and they were pulling it out of circulation. But even as of 10 years ago, you could go to a bank and buy rolls of coins and find when people would trade in their coins and pull the silver out. I used to do that all the time. At a certain point, about 15 years ago, I started doing that with copper. I would go buy boxes of copper pennies while I was working at the fire station, and I would open them up and sift through them and pull all the copper out. The guys thought I was crazy. Alexis, thank you so much for the super chat. Alexis, you got my email, correct? Type yes or no. If you got my email, or contact one of the moderators, they can get it to you and we'll get that interview done, okay? So thank you for the super chat. All right, so guys, don't throw me off. Don't give me super chats. You know how I get with that. All right. Okay, let me do this. Sorry. So I get thrown off really easy. The ninja gets thrown off. So we're talking about the silver. So my grandpa was setting this silver aside. When he died, silver had gone up more than when in 1964 when people were changing his change. He'd been doing this all throughout the 70s and the 80s as well. He had a lot of silver. Now, when we're talking about copper, I now have a garbage can of copper. Now, when you look at silver coins, a silver dime is worth, well, let's go to Coinflation. No, we got to go to silver. Okay, so as of right now, just a normal dime, right? The metal value in a normal dime is worth 2 cents. 2 cents in a dime. It's worthless. The face value of a dime today is worth more. It's worth 5 times more than the metal value. But if you go over to the silver coin values, right now, a silver dime dated up to 1964 is worth $2.63. But it gets even better than that. There are people that have taken some of those silver dimes and they left the patina on them. This is the worst thing you could ever do. My dad's guilty of this. I used to get on him. Stop cleaning your silver coins with lemon juice or whatever. People do this. They go, hey, don't clean them, keep them patinaed. And then the ones that are in really good shape, they would have them graded. And now you could sell those for $4, $10, $20 each. If they're really rare, super tons of money, right? Because they'd taken all these silver dimes, they'd kept them for a while, and then they started to have them graded. There's a day where you're going to see copper pennies sell for $1 in a graded slab, and people are going to be making thousands and thousands, if not tens of thousands of % of gains on their pennies because they simply, one day like today, And do me a favor, type 1 if you are already sorting your copper pennies. I get calls from friends that saw my videos and said, this is brilliant. Why am I not doing this? It's free money right now. They're separating their copper pennies, right? But think inside of that copper pennies pile that you're getting right now, there are some that are in such great condition that someday you're going to put into a slab, have it graded, and you're going to sell it for a stupid amount of money. Now, a lot of people may not choose to do this, and the reason why is because they can't think far off. Now, like I told you, in 1964, the government ceased to make silver dimes. But what happened is they turned around and they kept making dimes forever. As of right now, the penny will cease to be produced ever. So not only do you have the copper aspect that is still prevalent in pennies, because people don't care about pennies. Most people are broke, completely in debt. They owe more than they're worth, and they would step over copper pennies or pennies at all. I still, to this day, guys, do me a favor. Say I do if you're someone that still picks up change off the ground. I pick change up off the ground. Unless it's a zinc penny. I don't want any of that crap. But my point being is that I still do. If it's silver color, I pick it up. And I say this humbly, I'm a multimillionaire. And I'm not saying that like, oh, look at me. Look, it all started from pennies. You guys at my fire station would mock me and make fun of me. And I don't know what to tell you. I was sitting there separating pennies, watching TV along with them. And I'm making money as they're sitting there watching TV. This is a real story. And this is how you could go out and absolutely crush it. Now, like I said, when I was doing the thing with the copper pennies, separating them 15 years ago, I was still trading stocks, buying real estate, flipping real estate, doing all kinds of wild stuff and making good money. But what I want you to realize is I was always going back to my roots of what's my time worth? If I'm going to sit in front of the TV, well, I might as well go buy a box of pennies and separate them. Think about what you could teach your children right now, a mindset you could teach them. You take them to this website, right? Coinflation. Just take them to the website and so show them a couple of pennies, one that's from 1982 or older, one that's newer, and say, now look, they're both pennies, right? They both say 1 cent on them. However, show them this one right here is worth, they're both face value 1 cent. This one's worth 300 times more, whatever it is. It's the value. And I want you to start teaching your children, your spouses, your family value. That is how you're going to win. That is how you're going to become very successful and wealthy. That is how you are going to change not only your life, but other people's lives as you become richer. All right? We're breaking this down. We're going back to basics. We're starting with pennies. You are in a moment right now where you could go, and I'm telling you, people are dumping coins into the Coinstar thing, and they are, look, let me show you something. You see this watch? Does anybody know what kind of watch this is? If you do, type it down below. Okay, this is going to be one of the best learning lessons you ever learned. This is something that's called perceived value. It's perceived value based off of men that want it really bad because it's rare or fancy or something like that, right? It's not worth the metal that's made with. I'm sorry, it's only worth the metal that it's made with. It's only got value because people put high value on it. And what I'm trying to show you is right now, nobody is putting value on a copper penny. I know this sounds wild, but I'm telling you, this is the time to strike. Nobody put value on silver, dimes, and quarters. As a matter of fact, to this day, nobody really does. Look, watch this. If you agree, type yes and then type silver. If you own silver and you agree that most people have no clue, your friends and family, you're like, look, I found a silver dime. They're like, who cares? They don't care. Type yes and silver if you know that. You value silver, you own silver, but everyone else around you just doesn't seem to care. Even though a silver dime right now is worth, let me go to it again, $2.63. And not only that, that's just the metal value. You go into a store right now and go, I'd like to buy a silver dime. The cheapest I've ever found one at this price right now is like $3.50. And think about it. Back in 1964, your grandfather or you or your great grandfather, no matter however old you are, would sit there and go, I could just collect these, and 30 years from now, I'm going to be stupid rich, millionaire, because I've got a trash can full of these things. Seriously, I have got a trash can full of copper pennies. It's a small trash can, but you got to start somewhere. It's like ill-tempered sea bass. But anyway, my point being, type what movie that's from. My point being is that you got to start somewhere. And this is the great start. I want a mindset shift in you, and then you're going to absolutely crush it. So, thank you to everybody that's been hitting the subscribe button. Thank you so much. And if you want to learn how to trade stocks differently using AI, I'm not joking. This is a mind bender game changer course, and it will teach you prompt engineering like you've never learned before. No one's teaching this stuff, but how to use it, how to make money in the stock market. Links down below. It's the pre-filming discount. I don't know if it'll be over today or tomorrow. As soon as we get the rest of the videos uploaded, about half of them are up right now. We'll cancel it. All right. With that being said, thank you so much. And Alexis, I'll keep an eye out for your email, okay? And we'll get this going. All right. With that being said, the Economic Ninja is out.